Hello and welcome to The Bowl. It's a bit of a podcast with a difference. I'm not the usual host, so Andy is...
He's busy on the courier.
Sam Turton is on holiday.
We do let him have a bit of time off every now and then.
Yeah, he deserves it, doesn't he? The man works hard.
It does sometimes.
Yeah, and then Adam is jet-lagged after his trip to Liverpool last night, so...
So you're stuck with us too.
So it's just me today, and Dave, of course. We've got the usual Dave Norton's in the building.
Yeah, don't talk too much about that. But, yeah.
But we've got, as I say, a podcast with a difference because we're not in our usual studio. It's a lot nicer studio, and we've got some wonderful guests with us to talk all about the women's game. So we've got Becky Corkish.
Hello, everyone.
We've got Janeann.
Hello, everyone.
And we've got, everyone knows, Lewis Qualtrough.
Hello.
In a new role this year.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that. That's where I'll start, Lewis.
So currently doing an interim CEO role as well as doing my role as the football development manager, which I've done for a few years now here at the FA. It's going really, really well. Been very, very busy time, very hectic period, but it's been going really, really well. Been quite a lot of change as well from a governance point of view. We've had quite a few new directors come in, and they're all eager to get involved to really help support the growth and development of the game here on the Isle of Man. So ultimately, it's all real good stuff and it's been really, really positive. So looking forward to continuing that.
And we sent out some questions today, and the eagle-eyed fans of ours might notice that you are not Simon Ellison. You've been roped in at the last minute.
You got injured in the warm-up, did you?
Yeah, he did.
How convenient.
No, I've been roped in at the 11th hour to drop in and do the podcast today with you guys.
What I'll say is though, it's good because you look at the amount of biscuits you've brought.
I was just going to touch on that. Like, we never have more than one biscuit, and sometimes they're a bit of a letdown, our biscuits. I think the FA might have too much funding, as I said earlier, if they're going to provide for.
Becky's looking at them.
A plain digestive.
Well, yeah, maybe not then.
What you don't know, Tom, they're to last for the next 3, 4, 5 weeks.
Okay, not just for us. I was thinking we were getting special treatment. So we'll obviously touch on what you guys. You're a player, Becky. You play for Peel.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and I also saw you last night at the awards for excellence doing another sport.
Yeah, I was there for cricket last night.
Yeah, are we happy to win that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was good, but it was also good to see. Obviously, Corinthians women were nominated as well, so it was nice to see a local football team that were also there representing too. So yeah, it was nice. So it would have been nice for a local women's team to have won, but also at the same time, yeah, selfishly, I like that we won.
Yeah.
Well, women's sport in general, I know we're here to talk about football, but women's sport in general is really on the up, isn't it? I think it seems to be doing really well at the moment.
Yeah, it is. Like, it does seem to be progressing in all of the different sports, really. I think that does come from what happens in England. It does kind of tailgate to over here as well, but yeah, football as well. Like, we just want to be getting that in the same position.
Yeah, speaking of which, so obviously it's International Women's Day next week. So you guys are launching a campaign, aren't you? So it's going to be down the bowl next Wednesday. We've got some special guests, is that right?
Yes, we do. We've got quite a few special guests, but
including yourself.
The real special and yourself, hopefully. The real special guest is Natasha Dowie and Rebecca Easton, who are coming over, ex-England players and ex-Lionesses, played at a range of different football clubs, and really want to, use that as an opportunity to inspire a lot of more women and juniors into the game as best we can. Really happy that she's decided that she's coming over, and it's fantastic that Bowl & Co have sponsored the travel for her to attend, which is really good. And yeah, she will play a huge role on Wednesday night, and the more people that we can have down here to meet and greet, take selfies with.
Tom,
she's going to hand out some participation certificates for all of the different programmes that we have running on the night and the games that we have running on the night. That'll be
good.
That'll be really good.
From what I understand, so you've got a couple of friendly games involving the junior sides, and then the women's side, but basically drawn out of a hat, kind of two teams, is it? Or like, how are you doing that?
I'll tell you. So from the schedule of the night, early on from 5 o'clock, we have the under 14s and under 16s girls teams playing round robin, as well as we've opened it up to all of the junior girls that have signed up to take part in the Manx Youth Games this year, of which there's over 200, which is fabulous.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
And
that's
so
amazing.
Whether we'll have 200 here on the pitch or not, I don't know, but we've opened it up to everybody, and the more the merrier. That will take place between 5 and 6, and then from 6 till 7 We have the girls under 12s and the girls under 10s club teams playing in a round robin festival. So it's a real opportunity for any girls to see these are the opportunities that you can go and play football here on the Isle of Man at all these different clubs. I think there's 8 teams at under 10s and 8 teams at under 12s that are coming down, so it should be a really packed event. And then the thought process was all the parents, families, supporters of the children will hopefully stay on and watch a showcase game for the women national team play, and I've left that side to Wayne Lissy. He's involved with the organisation of the teams, and he's taking the charge of that for us. So in terms of who's playing where and who's playing on what team, that is out of my hands.
Are you going to be playing, Becky?
Well, I'm hoping to. I've been out for injury for the last 3 or 4 weeks now with my knee, so I'm going to go to training tonight, try it, and then hopefully I'll be able to come down. So I don't want to miss out on it.
No,
it'll be class.
It's going to be a great occasion. You were really unlucky because you missed out on the cup final, didn't you?
Oh God, yeah, I did. It was so annoying. It was literally I tore my MCL about 4 or 5 years ago and have not had a problem with it since. And then literally typically the Thursday before the Saturday night game, I mean, it was great. We had the Saturday night slot. There was loads of people coming down. It was honestly, it was such a good setup, and I'm so gutted that the Thursday night, last kick of the game, my knee just went, and I was like, it's typical, absolutely typical. So yeah, it was a tough decision to not play, but I definitely did it for the long run. So yeah, it was gutting to watch, but here we are.
Before we get into the
the seriousness,
I just want a breakaway. Would everyone like a breakaway?
I'm okay. I'm on no chocolate for Lent.
For Lent? Seriously?
I know.
I didn't even know people
I
still
thought
did
they
Lent.
did.
Would you like it?
I'm alright at the minute, thanks. But you're mental.
Proper athletes you've got here, isn't it? But the good thing about this podcast is we've not just got a player perspective, we've also got a referee perspective.
Indeed.
And I think that'd be really good as well for the viewers to hear about. And we'll go straight into some of the questions that have been planned for us, won't we?
Yeah. So we've got the numbers here in front of us. So there's 49 referees in the Isle of Man, and you're the only female one. I mean,
yes,
you're pioneering it. You're setting the trend, aren't you?
First of all, I didn't know it was 49. First of all, we had referees. I think that's impressive considering where we were at the start of the season.
Yeah, so it's fantastic we have 49 refs. We don't have 49 that referee every single week.
Yeah. So it's not the correct number in terms of every Saturday or Sunday or whatever. But for you, what's it been like refereeing, and how did you get into it?
To be fair, I actually got suggested by a couple of other referees, and a friend of mine, she used to be a referee on the island, but work obviously kind of changed that. And then it got suggested because I've been playing for so long, I'm reaching the point where I'm going to stop playing myself. So 3 years ago, I got told to maybe try my hat at refereeing and see how I got on the pitch. So I did the course, and then I started refereeing the senior men's games down in Combi 2, which is where you start off with when you're a level 7, what we class as a junior referee. And then you just work your way up. So it's been quite a challenge, to be honest, because it's not easy when you're a woman on the pitch, because they look at you and think, are you actually going to know the game? Do you know the laws and stuff? And it's nothing against them. It's just like what you would see as like stereotyping. So in a good way. So you just have to kind of come across as quite confident, quite knowledgeable in the game. And I think after playing football for probably going on 32 years, you kind of get to know the ins and outs of the game. And then you've just got to kind of, what would you say, fine-tune the laws and understand them yourself. If you can understand the laws of the game, you can be that confident on the pitch as well.
So when you started in Combi 2, did you have negative and positive feedback? What were the people like when you started? So you were saying there's obviously been challenges along the way. What was it like from an initial reaction from some of the players, the games you met? Were they mostly negative, mostly positive?
I think I would say half and half, to be honest, because when you're on the pitch, it's hard to not be frustrated with the referee's decision. I've been there. Becky's been there. It's like you do get frustrated with the decisions that the referees make. But I've found once I'm on the pitch and I make a decision, I try my best to explain why I've made that decision if I've got time to do so. Because they do come up to you going, why have you done that, ref? I don't believe that. And you'll go, well, this and this. And they'll go, fair enough. And then they'll walk away. So to me, explaining sometimes about why you've made that decision, or explaining that's the laws and this is why we've got to do that, it kind of does help make the flow of the game a bit better. And less frustration and stuff, and I do kind of enjoy it, to be honest with you. This is my 3rd season. I'm now going for a promotion up to level 5, I got my level 6 last season, so I'm now in my 3rd season, moving towards my level 5 promotion, which I think I'm about 75% of the way there. I've had some amazing feedback in my last 2 assessments that I've had in the last few weeks, and the mentoring I've had, and I'm applying the laws of the game pretty well, and stuff. And I still make mistakes out there. I'm a human being.
I think everyone does in every local game.
Speak for last week's standing linesman over here, managed to get himself booked.
Yeah, I was a bit passionate. We had a game down in Moran, playing fields, and someone needed to hold the line, so Taggy was like, I gave it to Nev. Nev, I think, got bored of it, so I took over it, and I was appealing for Moran decisions with the flag, and so I got a bit in trouble for that. I wouldn't recommend it.
No, I wouldn't recommend it either, you're right.
What's it? I'd like to know, in a referee's perspective, what the difference is between you being in the middle on your own and you having people on the line. Have you had any?
I haven't actually had that.
Oh,
so
really?
no, I haven't actually had the opportunity to have any lines, because as you know, it's very difficult with you've not always got all of our referees available every Saturday, because you've got work commitments, you've got people going away. You've also got some of our referees are currently going for their level 4, so they're obviously going away to do some games across to try and get a different experience to get those assessments in, because it's nothing against us over here. You just can't get all the assessments in, because we've got quite a few of us going for promotions at the moment, and level 4 is a big step as well, because that takes you up to the next level to get your bigger games. And with us being over here in FC Isle of Man, we can't really do the middle because they're our own team, so you can only do the line. So it's not easy.
Yeah.
But to be honest, you can't be everywhere on the pitch.
Yeah.
You're literally going. You could be down at the 18-yard box one end, and the ball's shot up the other, and you're trying to run to catch that, and you're trying to see an offside. It's very difficult when you haven't got lines. So I'm hoping I do get the opportunity to get some lines in the future.
Yeah, I think it'll make it. It'll make it 10 times difference.
It'll probably make it more of a difference, because then you're not watching the whole pitch.
You're not watching just for offside.
You're not just watching. You've got to be in the right position to always see what you need to see. It's not easy, but I think I'm moving around the pitch a lot better than what I was 3 years ago. Yeah.
So improvement, then that's all you need, isn't it? And that's what
it's all about positioning.
And do you think, since you've become a referee, would you say, obviously there's talk, we obviously want more women referees involved in the game, that's always a push. Do you think someone like you, is it like pioneering for that? Like, maybe people could look up and go, you've obviously just said how, obviously it's challenging, but you're really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Maybe someone could listen to this podcast and go, would you recommend it to young girls coming through?
Absolutely, definitely, because you've got people out there who absolutely love football, but they'll turn around and say, I'm no good at playing football. But you might not be any good, but you might actually be amazing at being a referee, because it's about applying what you do in football. There's a completely different, it's just totally different to playing, but you can love football and be a referee, because you can know the ins and outs of it. I mean, I played for so long that I didn't think I would actually be any good at being a referee, and I didn't think I would enjoy it. I thought, I've loved playing football, but I'm now reaching that point where we do need to start looking to get more females into doing the refereeing. There's nothing stopping them being a referee like I am and playing on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So they can still do the Saturday games and then play on a Sunday for the women.
You can still get involved and not play, just like Dave with reporting. You don't play, do you, Dave? But you can stand there.
I've never had the talent to play, mate. Or the fitness.
But you're still involved in Manx football, you love it, don't you? That's
Well,
the
yeah,
thing.
of
Like,
course,
there's
of
so many
course.
different roles in and around the game that rather than just playing on Saturday. So
That's a key thing, what we're trying to get across here with regards to the celebration that we've got going on Wednesday for women and girls football, and as part of International Women's Day. We want to celebrate everybody involved in the game, whether you're a player, you're a coach, whether you're an administrator, whether you're a referee, whether you're a parent taking your daughter down to football, whatever the role you play a critical role in letting football take place within and across the island every single weekend and throughout the week as well. So that's what this is a big part of, trying to reward and celebrate everybody that's involved within the game. And I think Janeann's just hit the nail on the head in the sense of, if you are interested in getting involved in refereeing, the pathway and the support mechanism is all there. We have the referee mentors, we have the assessors, we've got Paul Hodgkinson as our RDO who supports you. We have the career opportunities in terms of the pathway and support to higher levels of the game to work up the level, or down the goes the other way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it goes
Down
from
the other
the
level.
7 up. Yeah, absolutely.
like-
That always confuses me. Like,
Yeah.
It took me a while.
just go ABC, like just like back in school.
Yeah.
I've done it in 3 years. I've gone from 7, and I've done it in each year. So you stay as a 7 for your first year, get the experience under your belt, and then you start moving your way towards the other levels. And it can open up a lot of other things in the UK as well.
Yeah.
Going forward and stuff, and you can decide which pathway you want to go down if you want to make it a career.
Exactly. You could end up in the Premier League.
Well, you could, or you could end up in the WSL.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Because I was talking to Lewis before about what the next pathways could be, and I had a look, and once I get my 5, it can open me up to go down the women's pathway in the UK and potentially go down and be on one of the lines for maybe League One up to Women's Championship and work my way up that way and just do it that way. So there is massive opportunities out there,
really
even for young girls who are 16 who have never even thought about playing football or refereeing. There's nothing to say you can't get into it because you get taught all the laws anyway. It's a whole new level, especially out there with the women referees we've got now.
And it's also very stepped as well. We won't necessarily throw you right at the deep end and Combi 2. It would be, an opportunity for a younger referee to be mentored as part of a mini academy sort of thing.
You can
And
do
then
the under 16s, you've got the under
you've got-
14s.
yeah.
It's a massive experience.
Junior
out there.
football needs referees as well.
You don't
So-
just want to get thrown into a game in men's football. Do you?
No, not at all. Agreed.
Especially not if you've got me
Yeah.
screaming and shouting.
What about you, Becky? Any designs on potentially being a ref in the future?
Or a
Do you-
coach after retirement, maybe.
Well, I've done coaching before. I've got my level 1 coaching course, and I did that when I was at Colby, and then when I moved to Peel, I did it with the Peel juniors as well. There was a couple of girls that were helping me with it, and they wanted to go into doing it primarily themselves. So, and whilst I'm playing, that's fine, absolutely fine. It's one of them things for me. I think I want to focus on playing for as long as I possibly can, while helping with the coaching and dipping in and out as I can. But I think it's one of them things. Once I'm done, I think I'll then be able to give back a lot more than I can do as a player at the minute.
And what are you like as a player? Are you loud on the pitch? Do you have a go at the refs ever?
Yeah,
or are
Janeann,
you-
what's it like to ref, Becky?
To be fair, I actually did referee last year, didn't I?
Yeah.
It was actually quite a good game.
Oh, was it?
To be fair, you don't get much abuse with the women. They'll go, oh, come on, ref, and you'll just go, and you'll explain, and they'll go, okay, fair enough, and they just want to play the game. And it is the same the majority of the time in the men's side of things as well. But to be fair, it was actually quite a good game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was the last game of the season. You were getting your trophy for.
That was a good experience, guys.
Drinks before it.
There was no negative vibes from me.
I think that was actually the
Hard work.
first medal I've done for a women's game as well.
Oh, was it?
Actually, yeah, first medal for the women, yeah. Because I normally play, so
Yeah,
it's just like
Who did you play for when you were playing?
Douglas Royal.
Okay. So how many teams we got now? 7, 8 women's teams? 6 women's teams, that's it. And what are we looking at for that? So this leads on to the next question about the future of women and girls football in the Isle of Man. Obviously, you're always pushing for more. Back in the day, people always mentioned they had probably a load more.
Yeah.
I remember even my team around and a women's team back in the day.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone wants to get back to that number. You're obviously doing work to try and get it to a higher number. How much work goes into it, and what does the future look like for the game?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, that. So, in terms of when it started, women and girls football, women's football, it was 14. You could play at 14, and what was interesting is, however many years ago that was, I'm told that it started with no youth sections below it.
Okay.
So it started with a big bang with lots of women playing the game, which is fantastic, but without having that impetus coming through, over time that's going to diminish and teams will drop off here and there. Simon's worked really hard and to try and support clubs and the managers, the coaches, the committees to do their best to keep teams going and work really hard to keep them going year on year on year on year. And we have different initiatives that have been trialled over the recent seasons. A mainstay being the Women's Business League or Summer League that takes place sort of June to July sort of time. And that we've had teams that have come into the Women's League as a result of that. So the likes of Onken started in the that summer sort of small-sided environment before going into an 11-a-side environment, and so did Malou
yeah.
Yeah,
recently.
Malou came back in after about 15 years out.
Malouk actually were a hockey team, weren't they? They were a group of girls that all played hockey.
Oh, really?
And they all thought, do you know what, we all play hockey together. Essentially, it's similar positions, similar ball work, like similar direction, so they just gave it a stab, and it works.
And we found, similarly to hockey, I think there's been a rugby team over the years that have tried it as well. It's just something different to do as a sort of fun thing amongst friends or amongst, as they say, a different club, to come down and try football, and if you like it, you can step into the game. For me, we have to work really hard to retain 6 teams and grow it year on year as best we can at the top end, and we've got to make sure that we have, as I said before, the under 10s, under 12s girls, there's less under 14s teams at the minute, filter through into teams. But in order to make that happen, we need support. It can't just be the likes of the development office doing it. It has to be a lot of club volunteers really getting dedicated and behind it, and we can do the best we can. We offer, for argument's sake, we were talking about coaching before, any person that's involved with a junior girls team or as a female that wants to get involved in coaching, we will pay for your coaching course. Fully subsidised, we've had quite a few doing it recently, because we want to try and get more volunteers in the sport. If we can encourage more parents, more players to give back and run some Saturday morning sessions, take some teams, they don't have to do it full time, just dip in and out here and there, then that will just keep the teams going and we'll grow that pathway through. That's what we need. Obviously, I think making sure that we build on the things like was mentioned previously, the floodlit final the other week, we had over 400 down attending,
which is brilliant,
which was amazing to see. And we had Simon had got in contact with all the primary schools, had quite a lot of families down and had quite a lot of younger people down watching the games too, and we want to try and improve that as best we can.
I think with that, Lewis, as well, is like what I thought was really good was just by doing this. Obviously, the Floodlit Cup was around for years and years, under the same structure, the same day, similar times. I think by simply just changing it to a Saturday night, it made such a bigger impact.
Little things like that.
Little impact like that, it can make a big thing. And we really want the thought process a little bit behind that was as well as that's been on a Sunday for quite a while.
Yeah.
And so the teams don't get to go out and celebrate because, they
No.
do, but they'll have a huge hangover for
the
Monday morning, and there'll be quite a lot of bosses out there going, "Oh, I know that this person's not coming in."
Yeah.
So we thought,
Turn up to work in a full peel kit on Monday.
Still on.
I think it's really important that the women's game has equal access to everything, exactly the same as the men's game. And we can just work in our stages towards that as best we can. Equal access to training, equal access to facilities, equal access to slots in terms of finals and stuff over time. And it will take a bit of time, but we'll get there. And if we keep working hard as a group and as a collective, driving responsibility about growing the sport, we can get further and further. Because I really think there's a real opportunity to grow the women's side and the junior girls side even more, as much as we can. It's a key part of the FA's of our business strategy over the next 4 years, which we're currently developing. So that's what I see. But we just need that support from everybody in, and this is a great opportunity. Celebrate what we've got, bring attraction and eyes to the sport, and grow it from there as best we can.
Do you feel the profile's been... Sorry, Dave.
No,
do you feel like the profile's been raised? Obviously, I'm coming in here, and forgive me, I won't know an awful lot about the women's game, and I'm not going to pretend like I do, but I feel like I'm a lot more drawn to it now. I know the work of Hattie on Facebook, people seeing the YouTube videos, stuff like that. I'm not saying I sit there and
You're
watch
going to be our next reporter.
Yeah.
It sounds like. Here we
I'm
go.
not signing for that yet.
You're just going to set up the women's team on there, aren't
Well,
you?
do you think I know the Women's World Cup did massive things for the women's game, but just in general on the Isle of Man, I feel like I see the women's scores more, people talk about the women's game a lot more. And I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on it, but I even feel more in the know than I did. Do you think raising the profile is a big thing, especially in the men's game? I feel like, as you say, 400 down is incredible. Down watching the Floodlit Cup. Do you feel like there's been a raise in profile for the game just from the work you guys have been doing?
Definitely.
I think getting bronze at the Island Games is a massive thing as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
That was huge.
But yeah, more media attention, more
Comes to
reporters,
Dave.
more reports in the back of the paper, equal access for the boys and the and for the men, boys, girls, junior, or if it's completely equal, it will raise it even further and further, and that's what we've got to try and drive.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to try and drive as best we can.
Well, this is it. I mean, Hattie obviously does such an amazing job.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And if anyone ever wants to report on any games and send them through to us, they are absolutely welcome to do it. I think I know we've chatting off air about you've got a new guy doing the under-18s league down here. He's doing it as part of his studies and stuff like that. We encourage that sort of thing.
I did it as well, didn't I?
You did it as well. You started.
16-year-old.
We haven't been able to get rid of you since.
You've not managed quite yet.
No, not yet.
Went to Chester, came straight back to it.
That's it, you can't get rid of you. But no, it's good because, again, it's as you say, it's driving that interest. But yeah, you mentioned it there, though, the Ireland Games last year. I mean, almost a watershed moment, wasn't it? It was getting that medal.
Yeah, it was. And do you know what? Before we went away, if you'd have said to me before we went, would you be happy with bronze? I would have gone, no, absolutely not. But I don't think, unless you go away and do it, you have to play 5-6 games in the space of less than a week. And sometimes we played our game against Bermuda, which was on our semi-final, which knocked us out. I mean, and fair play, they're a FIFA ranked team, so 1-0 from a set piece can't really be too hard done by that.
I bet at the time you were gutted though.
Absolutely gutted, but do you know what? It was a challenge for me because it was my first Island Games as a captain, and captain for the Ironman women's team, and I was gutted when the final whistle went, as you would be, and to see all of the girls crumble to the floor in absolute distraught. I wanted to do it myself, but then realising we've got less than 24 hours before you have to pick yourself up again, before we have this bronze playoff game. So trying to get them all up and upbeat again and forget about what's just happened. Obviously you can learn from your mistakes, but you want to carry on and get that bronze medal and not walk away with absolutely nothing at the end of it. So yeah, it was. So to get that bronze was a massive relief. And we were all absolutely buzzing by the end of it as well.
I can imagine. Buzzing/drunk.
Don't know what I'm talking about.
What was really good to see as well was I saw the videos, clapping Menorca and things like that, and that was fantastic. I thought the sort of camaraderie that was on display from the Isle of Man team, I thought was fantastic, and that's exactly what we need moving forward.
And that's it with the Isle of Man women's team. It's like at the minute we've got such a great team, and it's full of youngsters, and the attitude is just so good at the minute. Every single player that we have in that Ireland squad wants to be there and they want to do well. There's no negativity, there's none of this, well, you play locally for Peel, I play for Corinthians, you play for Royals.
Don't hate each other for
it all comes together, and honestly it's the most positive squad that I've been part of for a long time, and I think that did really show when we were away.
So I want to get onto your captaincy in a little bit, but right now I just want to talk about, we spoke about how brilliant the women and the girls game is going and how great it is, but I want to speak about the challenges and barriers currently for women and girls getting involved. So we had Johnny Palmer on the podcast, and he spoke about this, as you alluded to earlier, the 14s, there used to be 14-year-olds allowed to do it, and there's a bit of a thing with this, isn't there? So
there's obviously safeguarding issues with that, isn't there? But again, as Tom said, it's about removing those barriers, making it easy, because there's so many different sports that's accessible to girls growing up now that they can easily get distracted going to different sports. What's the thing you can do to sort of make sure they stay in football?
So, in terms of barriers, it might be best to probably speak to going specifically to that question. I think it's all about the environment you create at your club. So if we can have a really welcoming, supportive environment, the camaraderie's being built, and it's a real drive in terms of a collective responsibility to really help promote the sport and bring players into the sport. A 16-year-old girl that has come through at her club or has got a taste for football might decide, well, actually, I'll go and join a group of people that I don't quite know, to go and I feel welcome, etc. I might stay around, I'll keep at it, might not get in the team, might not get minutes straight away, but I'll keep going. If that side of things is really good, there's a better chance to have that system come through. I think we've got to work really hard over the next 4 years on the 8 teams that we have at under 12 to make sure that they become 8 teams at under 14s. From the 8 teams under 14s to make sure that they become 8 teams at under 16s. And that will drive through over time in terms from a team's perspective. It's just a numbers game on the Isle of Man. That's what it is, that's what we're up against.
Every sport pinching each other off.
Every sport pinches each other. You can play hockey, you can play netball, you can play it's a very sporty island.
It's a good thing, but it's also
it's a really good thing. But in comparison to England, there's not many places like that that you have an opportunity to do whatever on your doorstep, and it's right there. It's a real tough thing. It's quite competitive.
It's the same effectively. I think men's football is the same. It's nowhere near as big as it used to be in the element. I still think we've obviously 26 clubs, fantastic and everything, but it's nowhere near sports pinching each other off. Like, you don't see now no combis getting teams out and stuff like that, because there's so much for people to do. It's like you could be playing squash on a Saturday, you could be playing cricket, whatever.
Cricket, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So,
literally, there's so much to do. So I think, as much as that's a women's problem, it's also a men's thing. But as we were saying, the barriers for women especially, what do you think are the biggest ones for you, for women getting involved in football?
I think it's not so much getting involved, but I think that from the progression from the juniors into the seniors, it is the thing that everybody talks about all the time, and it's never gonna go away, because we once had that and now it's not there, and so you do naturally think that is what is one of the main barriers are. And like you said, you've also got so many different sports available, but if you're a 14-year-old and you play football, hockey and netball, and then all of a sudden you become 14 and you're allowed to play senior netball, senior hockey, but you can't play senior football, you're probably then going to go into the senior netball and hockey, because you're able to play in with the grown-ups. So that, I think that is where the main barrier is.
Yeah, from a team sports perspective, that is, as I said, it's a challenge. The one thing that we do have is girls can play up to under 18s in mixed football here on the Isle of Man. So we do have players that, particularly the really talented players that really driven, like something like Tia Lissy and the ones that have played all the way through up to under 18. I can remember watching a few games of her outside.
I've played
under
against
18.
her. She was better than me.
And she was
running the show.
She was so good.
Yeah.
She was so good, and probably still is. But like, there is that from an individual's perspective. But as I say, it's you need a few more. You need more than that. We need more opportunities within clubs to keep teams together, to keep them going through. And that's what we've got to work hard at. It's the support package around it that needs to be really worked hard at, in terms of the committees, equal access, the coaches, the opportunities to be equal in terms of training. Everything needs to be worked at over time. And as I say, it's a big part of what we're going to be moving into for the next 4 years in particular.
Would you agree with all that, Janeann?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was different for me. I was playing with, when I first started out, I was at Castletown, and you're playing with the boys back then as well. And up until I was probably in that progression point at 14, where I could go and play with the seniors. But yeah, I think the main barrier is, as Becky quite rightly explained it, is to do with that age and senior. When you can do senior netball, senior hockey, but you can't go into senior football, so you tend to divert your priorities as to where you're going to be. So, but as Lewis has also said, you can play mixed football up until the under 18s. So it may be that if we want to keep the girls within the football at that age, is maybe advertising the mixed football and making it understand that it also puts it out there with the men, and making it understand that women can play football as well, and we are out there to shine as well, not just sit in the background. And I think it's good that now, like you say, with Euros, with England winning the Euros, the World Cup, getting to where we did in the World Cup, it's kind of shining everything now. So hopefully we can bring those barriers down, and we can start mixing together a bit more.
I think that's it. You've again hit the nail on the head there with the Lionesses doing so well. It just brought it into the public eye even more than it was, and I think that's what you want to spur that on now, don't you? You want to just bring that next success through. I can see you're looking at some.
I can already hear Hattie waiting for him to ask us his questions. So you better get on to the people's questions.
Yeah, good shout.
They'll be bored of all of us speaking, honestly. So I think Hattie will want to know what you. So we start with Hattie then.
Yeah, go on. The man is a legend. Go for it. Yeah.
Where are we?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Yeah. Sorry, no.
Because
there's just so many of them. I just. They were all.
We gave him his full title. No one knows him as Paul Hatton.
No.
Full style.
Full style. There you go.
Exactly. So this is a question for Becky to start with. Were you surprised to be told at the opening match against Menorca in Guernsey last year that you were the youngest women's island captain at an island games under Mrs.
Yeah, well, answer that question.
Oh, is that a different question?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You can tell this is off the cuff, can't you?
Yeah, so Hattie came up to me in the Menorca game and said, just to let you know, I mean, it was an exciting time anyway, but just to then throw that at me as well, just before I was about to walk out with the girls, was to be the youngest young captain for the Isle of Man at an Island game.
No pressure.
I'm just imagining this conversation right before you walk out.
Nice height, you're already envisioning doing it as well.
Yeah. But no, it was mental, and for me as well, like, it was an achievement enough for Wayne to ask me to be the captain, never mind to hit that little milestone as well for myself. I've come from a place where in football I was always, from when I turned 16, I was involved in the island setup, and island set up from the Centre of Excellence when you obviously used to do it, Lewis, and all the way up to the women. I hit 16 and then was invited down to the women's training, but I was never really a starting player. I was never really a front name or anything like that. It was always we're all right, we've got a few goals now, Corks, you go on. And that was fair because that's where I was at the time as a player. So to go from that and trying to work so hard to get into the team to then become the island captain to start with, and then also to be able to set that record of being the youngest was just great.
It's a great example for, I think, girls all around who are probably thinking they're on the bench now, maybe, who are thinking, oh, well, what's the point of continuing? And then the Isle of Man captain all of a sudden, like, it just shows
drive.
Exactly, not to give up, exactly, yeah.
And that's it. It's if you're committed and you've got enough. I mean, I absolutely love football. It's my life and soul. Like, I speak about it all day. So when you guys were like, "Come on, Dan," I was like, "Yes."
See how sure that's sorry.
Yeah.
To literally drag them.
She won't be like this by the end of the episode.
I know that again. But no, I was like, I just absolutely love it. So for me, it was what is the thing I love doing the most? It's playing football. So how am I going to be able to play every minute of every game going forward? And it was keep going at it and keep staying committed to it, and got me to there. So it was good. So thanks, Hattie, for bringing that start to me.
He's got several other questions.
Yeah, you go for them, Dave. You go for them.
Right. Yeah. So the next question is under Wayne Lacey and Luke Stewart. We've seen a number of youngsters now playing for the island. How pleasing or excited are you for the future of the sport? I know we've touched on the future before, but for you personally?
Yeah, so I mentioned obviously earlier about the atmosphere that we have at the minute with the young ones. I know before the Island Games, obviously Wayne came in and took over, and he's done such a great job of it as well. He's kind of flipped it completely round, and I know there was a lot of people thinking it was great what he was doing. Some people obviously didn't agree. Not everyone is going to agree because he did go for a younger approach.
Yeah.
And I think it really paid off. I mean, we got a medal at the end of it, so it clearly did. But it's super exciting because the youngsters that are coming through, I mean, a few of them are going away on a weekend now. You've got Stevie going away, you've got Erin going away, like they're all going away and playing in the UK League instead of over here.
There's a pathway there.
There is, exactly, and the attitude for them is it's brilliant. Like the whole team, the whole morale, it just shows. They're so excited so early on. As long as it stays like that, it's just going to keep growing and growing and getting
success
better.
breeds success with that, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Do you want to do the next one?
Yeah.
One for Janeann.
For Janeann, best player played with and against, and your most memorable match. The last one could be whether you refed it, whether you played it or what. But we'll start with best player you've played with and against.
That I'm not going to be able to answer.
Becky Corkish.
Playing against her, definitely. I played for 32 years, so that makes me sound really old now, doesn't it, crikey? To be fair, I couldn't actually answer that question because I played for so long. I mean, I had a really good playing time when I played for Malou a long time ago in the early 2000s, where we won the league quite a lot. We had a cracking team back then. Honestly, we had an amazing team, and we did play really well, and it was quite a challenge. And Russian was mostly our challenging team back then. So I would say really then, and I also, to be fair, I actually moved to Kent in 2007, and I played for Medway Ladies down there, and I have to say that was a whole different experience in itself, playing for a different team off the island. But over the time, I can't say that I could actually name any specific player, because most of the teams that I've played with, I've had some great experiences with them and playing against them. So yeah, it's really hard to actually pinpoint.
Have you got a most memorable match then? Oh, how about we do most memorable match as a ref? Is there one that stands out for you maybe that you've reffed so far?
I did the women's final on the line a couple of years ago. I did that, and that was quite a...
You have ref me, by the way, just to let you know.
That
would be one of your best.
I hope you sent him off.
No, that was last week. Do you know what? I can't really... I've had quite a few games this season. I must say, my hardest game will be, Becky was actually at it, and it's quite fast paced, where I had a Premier League team and a Division 2 team in was it the ECAP?
In the FA Cup,
was it the ECAP or the FA Cup? I can't remember.
Foxdale.
Yeah, it was Foxdale. It was Russian v Foxdale down there, and I've not had a Premier League game in the middle before.
Yeah.
So it was a cup game.
It was quite close. Was it 2-1 Russian one? Was that the game?
It was a very close game, and
yeah.
it was very fast. It was very fast paced. It was a whole nother level for me, and I had somebody there mentoring me as well, and I got quite good feedback from him. But I must say, that was very hard. It was very fast, and it proved that I do need your fitness does improve as you're going along, and I am doing quite a lot of work on that. I've got fitness classes, and I've got somebody who's helping me with all that now. But I have to say, that was the hardest game I've done since I've started.
But that's what you want. Them games you can almost challenge yourself. I can imagine.
I think I walked off the pitch and just went.
Glad
that's over. Not in a bad way, because I did get quite a bit of feedback, and yes, Foxdale lost, but. Because you're quite a few of the games, aren't you, watching? Yeah. But I must say, both teams played really well, so I can't really fault it. But it was quite feisty at times. It was quite challenging. There'd be times where I'd literally go to run towards the ball, but then I'd have to twist and go back towards another way, and you're literally and you're on your own, so it's not easy to keep up. It's not easy to see everything, and I did find that really challenging.
Well, I think you wouldn't be the only rep on the Isle that finds that game challenging. Russian aren't the best this year, are they? We've noticed that.
They're mid-table, aren't they?
And Foxdale are flying high too.
They're massively flying.
That type of game is always going to be close.
Well, exactly. I had them last week again. In the quarterfinals against Donkin.
That's a real big game.
It was quite a big game as well, and that was quite a challenging. And Foxdale won that game.
Up the Dale.
But I must say that was but I felt that my fitness had improved within a couple of weeks of doing that game, and I was managing to keep up. But it's that was new to me, doing a Premier League team, and I am hoping to progress a bit further in doing that. But that was quite memorable.
Have you had
not in a bad way either.
Have you had to referee Lewis yet?
In the business league.
Oh, what did you do?
Gobby.
Yeah. Did you back chat?
Not a chat.
He just throws his hands up in the air. No, I'm only joking. To be fair, no, he's all right. To be honest.
That's the right answer.
Diplomatic.
No, he's fine. He's absolutely
Which
fine.
question should we go to next?
He has asked that question to you as well, Becky, about the best player you played with and against, and the most memorable match.
Oh God, there's actually so many of them as well, because I rate them so much. Like, the girls over here are just class. But Ellie Gordon is the absolute dogs in women's football. She's class. And she's still going. I think she'll hate me for this, but she's 40 this year. So, and she's still right up there with the top lot and still going.
We were in school together.
She was really good.
Yeah, and she still goes. She was the flag bearer for us at the Island Games this year, because she hit her 10th Island Games that she represented.
That's some going, that.
Yeah, exactly.
10 Island Games.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's some feat that is.
That does actually. Hattie's talked about that, because that was your third Island Games last year.
Yeah.
How does it compare? Obviously you won a medal, so obviously it's a successful one.
Yeah, so it's tough really, because the first one was Scotland and we came second, so we got silver. So silver's always, it's a tough one really, because it's still a great achievement, you've won silver, but you have to lose to get silver, whereas obviously bronze, you have to win to get bronze. So yeah, it is a tough one. And then we obviously went to Janeann in 2019, and that was the inter-Island Games, because obviously they all went off to Gibraltar. There wasn't enough football pitches for everyone, so we went to Janeann instead of Gibraltar. Great. And we got gold there as well, so I've got one of each now, but I don't know, it's just different. Each time is different, because you obviously have a different group of girls, different location, and different... I don't know which one. I think Scotland...
It's really hard to pinpoint, isn't it?
Scotland was my first one, so it was amazing that I'd made the team, and even though I wasn't as much of a key player in there, it was such an honour to be able to put the Isle of Man jersey on for the first time. And I'd say my memorable match from an Ireland point of view, not local, is we had to play Ireland, who at the time were phenomenal, and it was so tough to beat them, and we knew it was going to be tough to beat them when we got them in the group, and we were thinking, oh god, this
here we go again.
here we go again, we're getting knocked out by Ireland. And then just the way that it went, we had to play them in the last game of the group to see who goes through to the semi-final, and we had to beat Ireland by 3 goals. We'd all kind of given up the night before. We were all like, it's not going to happen. And miraculously, it did. And we beat them by 3 goals. And it was honestly like, I think anyone that was on the Island Games would just say that game was probably their most memorable game, because it was just like, we did what was the unthinkable at the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think, well, I say you've been involved in quite a few there, haven't you? So, next question, we go for Dean. Do you want to go for?
Yeah, I was actually going to go to Luke because you mentioned someone who's an obvious candidate, but this is for you again, Becky. Which current former teammate has influenced you the most as a player? This is Luke Stewart, sorry. So.
Again, that is a tough one. I think, so she doesn't play anymore. Sarah O'Reilly, she is another class player. She's retired now, but she's a very similar player to how I wanted to play, and she played for Peel when I moved from Colby to Peel, and she was the person that I was like, that's who I want to play. Like, she's a solid player. She's putting the crunching tackles in. She's setting the standard at the beginning of the game when that whistle's going, and I was like, yeah, I want to be that player. So yeah, I'd probably say Sarah O'Reilly.
Good shout, that. I think she's a good player.
Yeah.
And you can go to Mike Holt's one if you want to, Dave.
Oh yeah. So Mike Holt's got a question. This is obviously for all of you. This is. We've kind of touched on a couple of things here, but what's the biggest positive change that needs to happen to help the women's game on the island progress and increase the numbers participating? So I know we have obviously touched on this, but is there any one single positive change, you think?
I think as well, when we were speaking before about the barriers for the younger ones going into the Women's League, I think you need to flip it and also look at keeping the older ones involved in the Women's League, because there's no masters or vets to go into either. And I think another change would be, like we said, about changing to the Saturday night with the Floodlit Cup final. It had a massive impact. Sunday is a family day, really, isn't it? And a lot of them are mothers now, so they're going to be wanting to spend more time with their family as a priority over probably playing a Sunday afternoon football match. So I think a change that could look into is possibly changing the day, whether it's Sunday afternoon.
Like say for example like a title decider or something, a big game. Imagine a Saturday night down here, not just a final, but like a big game at the clash. You versus Peel Corinthians is the obvious one that springs to mind. Imagine the FCR Manor away, obviously, and you play down here on a Saturday night. You can see people coming down with the. I know you can't bring cans of beer in, but like it's do you know what I mean? Going to the pub, coming down, watching a local team. I know Peel get a big following, don't they? Yeah. So like, I think it'd be quite good to see.
No, I totally agree. The ideas like that is what we want to hear. See if they're workable. See if those sort of things can happen. Well, actually, it's a good point because we're a couple of weeks away from putting out a survey to everybody that we're hoping that can complete it. So all players, all coaches, all committee members, all volunteers, any spectators that are involved with the Manx game, both men and women, and boys and girls, everybody, the whole blanket of the game. We're looking to put a survey out to help inform our next business strategy as well. So there's an opportunity within that to basically detail anything that you think could improve certain aspects of football, and we can see if there's any workable solutions within that too. So that's what it's about. At the end of the day, it's a game for everybody to enjoy. So we want to utilise everybody's opinion within that as part of our strategy moving forward. So over the next, as I say, that'll be probably going live on our socials, and we'll be sending direct emails out as well to everybody in the next couple of weeks, ready for the start date of that strategy from July 1st through to 2028.
So you recommend everyone to take part in the survey?
Everybody. The more people that we can get involved with that, the better.
Absolutely.
So keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
We always do. Right, so we've got 2 questions in from Dean Turton of Upfront Footy, who's obviously doing a brilliant job this season, bringing extra coverage to the game. So the first question, we'll go for you first, Janeann. As a female who plays the women's game on the island, but who also refs in the men's game, what are the significant differences between them that you can see? And could anything from either of them be transferred to the other to improve either of them?
Oh God, that's a good question.
There you go.
Wow.
Put you on the spot.
That's completely...
Probably should have shown you that question.
Yeah, definitely.
Quite detailed.
Yeah.
Nice, Dean. So I don't know how. That completely stumped me.
It's a tough question, to be fair.
We could go to the next question and you can have a think about that one.
Where did he get that one from?
There you go, he's up front, unfiltered.
To be fair, he is actually doing a really good job, to be honest.
It's a tough question.
Yeah, it's a tough question.
And we've put you on the spot as well.
Not really.
It's
going to be very difficult to figure out what you could transfer over.
Yeah.
I mean, women's football and men's football are two totally different compacts, aren't they? And I mean, I take into the men's game what I play on a Sunday, but it's two different dynamics.
Yeah.
There always is going to be two different dynamics, two different cultures and stuff like that. I mean, maybe that's where we do need to change it and just bring it into one culture and make it understand that it's just like we're all one. We're not we're not just women, we're not just men. We're all there to work together. From that side of things, like the men referee the women's teams, the women referee the men's teams, and maybe that's I don't know.
Yeah.
It is really like, wow.
That is a very upfront.
That was good.
Yeah, I don't know how else you would answer that question. I'm looking at Becky for some inspiration. She's just looking at me going, yeah, no.
Well, we have got a question for Becky. This one's from Simon and for Simon.
So you can get in on this one as well, Lewis.
Yeah. Do you think the approach to women's football in the island is correct for the current ability levels of the players involved? For example, would a cap on the number of island players per club help close the gap between the top two and chasing pack? Or maybe like they did a few years ago when I coached in the women's game, a league split like Scottish football, play each other once, then split the league in half and play each other again 2 times in the second half of the season. That was a lot big. Dean's thought about these, hasn't he?
He's far too professional for us.
Yeah. We just turn up, put the camera on, see how we get on. Basically, do you think... Because obviously every time if I have a gander at the league tables, it's an obvious Peel or Corinthians are going to win the league, and you see some scorelines, and you know what, credit for the teams that are coming out, but you guys will comfortably win against some other teams, won't you? So what do you think? Do you think there should be a divide?
We looked into the divide, didn't we? And we sent it round to see whether it would work or not, but I think it would work if we had a couple more teams.
It's about teams.
That's the thing,
So it's the same as the Masters League. You need a few more teams to be able to make that happen.
Yeah.
And then, ideal scenario, you would have the top teams, the bottom teams, playing in a more competitive league.
Exactly, in every league.
We need more numbers in order to make that happen. What could be an opportunity as well is a drive around recreational football as well. So club football, which doesn't affect club football. So club football being the bread and butter, people training and playing Sunday or Saturday, whenever it may be, but a recreational offer for women as well. So we've done just play events and things like that in the past where we've tried to encourage players that might not have had a huge history within the game in terms of a junior to play football as well as a fun, fit, healthy sort of approach to it, and maybe some just play events, maybe some sort of turn up and play type sessions indoors in different facilities would work too. We've got a session running currently on a Monday. There's a girl called Justine who's running a session for us 6 till 7 at the NSC, and she's wanting more women that aren't currently involved with clubs to come down and just experience playing football, and that might be the first step into a different type of football that she might get involved in club football later down the line. But going back to the question in terms of Dean, it's the right answer. It's a case of having enough teams to do that, because playing 2 teams over and over again probably wouldn't be the best, the most exciting.
Peel Corinthians is the 38th time this season.
Everyone cripples.
It'd be a good spectacle though.
We have gaps as well, don't we, when playing on Sundays? Sometimes it can go like after Christmas, it's like 2 or 3 weeks, isn't it? 4 weeks before we start playing again.
Yeah.
There's a massive gap in there, and that's not...
I think that does count for a lot as well, and you can't help the way it is now. Say, take it from my point of view, like, we played Corinthians' first game of the season in September, which is our toughest game of the season, so we went straight in, and whoever won that game had the upper hand for the league win already on your first game of the season. And it's a shame that it is like that.
You want it more competitive, don't
exactly.
you? You want some slip-ups during the season.
Yeah,
absolutely. Although you say that the men's football season this year, Ayr and Peel seem like to be steamrolling it, don't they? So it's like, sometimes you have the leagues like that just... And Peel and Corinthians obviously is so far ahead of the rest. It is, as you were saying, a few more teams and something like that can happen.
And that's it now, like, we obviously... beat Corinthians first game of the season, then we played them the other week, and because it was a case of whoever won, obviously it would go to a head-to-head game or whatever the goal difference was.
Slightly different than the men's.
Why doesn't it go? I did think this. Why doesn't it go to goal difference at the end of the season? Why is it head-to-head?
I think because you want to try and have as much participation as possible. Teams don't want to be turning up and getting battered 15-0, 20-0. And if it went on goal difference, you're not going to rein it in.
Exactly.
Because if you know that Corinthians have put 20 past the team, you're going to try and do the same, and it's not fair on the other team when you're trying to increase participation. So
it
just demoralises the game, which Becky's nailed that there completely.
Yeah, and you don't want to be doing that. Like I've been on the other side of it as well when I played for Colby, and it's not nice. So
I think there's a chance really. I know Laxey were close at the start of this season. They tried really hard to put it out there to get a women's team, and they didn't quite get over the line. But I know they're looking at it again. So hopefully if we can get something at Laxey, and D&D are not far away in terms of their youth setup as well, in terms of the ages of the girls there, if they all stick together and if they're supported as best we can, there could be a couple more teams coming there, and we just got to grow it slowly, try and get up in terms of team numbers to get to a position to be able to do some stuff.
Absolutely.
But in terms of like different competitions, there's an opportunity, I think, to put a couple of ideas in around, are there other competitions and different types of formats that we might be able to do across the course of the season? Is there something from that side of things that might need to tweak or change? Let's get them out there, let's get them on the table and see if they work, and if they do, we'll look to see if we can include them. If they don't work, then we'll have to change, keep doing what we're doing in different areas.
Which is interesting as well, because obviously Dean said there about limiting the amount of island players that can be in Peel and Corinthians and Royals and etc. I don't think it would work, but you could do it from, say we do the Summer League, which is obviously a bit more of a friendlier competition. I've always thought of the idea of, instead of then entering it as Peel again, Corinthians again, Royals again, chuck everyone in a hat, pull everybody out, and then you mix with people.
Do like a super draft.
Meet new people, and then just go through it that way, and it makes it something different. But I think from a league point of view, I don't think
you can't take. Imagine just someone came to you now and said you've got to go play for another team.
Yeah,
I imagine getting told how to leave them around.
You've never happened.
You're on Saturday.
Combi.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'll just try and be as nice as I can.
Get her biscuit.
There's number bar.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have actually.
If I get a yellow here, it doesn't go over to Saturday.
So the bribery can't happen now.
Speaking of the weekend though, we've got the fixture list in front of us. We're just going to do a quick run through of your predictions basically. Just put you on the spot with this. We'll start with the Women's League on Sunday. We've got 3 games. We'll start with yours, Becky. Onchan v Peel, which is at Peel, this one is.
Yeah, Onchan I've seen have been doing alright,
They've been playing
they're doing really well, which is really nice to see.
Is this their first season, or did they start last year?
That's the second
season.
Yeah,
so
second.
It's good to see that a team's not started a season and then just continued, got more players involved. So
yeah, definitely. I think it'll be a close game, to be fair. I think, because like I said, Onchan have been coming along, and you can see in the girls, they all want to be there, they're enthusiastic, so they put the effort in, and I think it will be a close game, to be honest. I hope we win, because it means we win the league, but there's a bit of pressure on it.
Yeah, and so score prediction then, if you had to guess.
Oh God, I don't really want to put a score prediction on it, but I'll go 4-2 Peel.
4-2.
Right, okay.
I hope.
Janeann?
I think Becky's just nailed it, to be fair. It's going to be a hard one, especially because if Peel put the team out, they're going to put out like they did in the final. I mean, Onchan are going to have a challenge, but Onchan have got some phenomenal players in their team as well, who actually push really hard. They've been training hard as well. They're getting the players, so I think Peel will win that one. But I think that Peel are up for it, going to have a challenge with Onchan. Definitely.
Quite close.
Yeah, I would say it's going to be a close-knit game out there, but that's not a bad thing either.
That's what you want.
It's what we want, it's what we need, and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's going to be difficult. I couldn't even put a score. I would say, I don't know, maybe 3-2.
3-2. And Lewis?
I think it's tough to get points at Peel, that's my experience. I'm going to go for a Peel home win on that one.
Yeah. Peel hit.
Okay. All right. Next game, Douglas Royal v Castletown. Just a score prediction if you want. It's up to you.
Obviously, you'll know what they're like. I'm obviously, I don't know much about either team. What do you think, Royals, Castan? Who's the better team in this one? Do you think?
I think Royals are the stronger team, but I think both sides, and you'll obviously know this as well, playing for Royals. I think both teams are struggling for players.
Yeah.
So hopefully the game can go ahead and both teams are able to field the team. But I think if both teams do, I think it'll be a good game. But I do think Royals will probably take it.
Yeah.
I've got to say, Royals will play for them.
Yeah.
Although I am actually not available this Sunday because I'm away. But
She's going to lose if you're not there, surely.
To be fair, we have got some strong
You're not
players.
going to get away with that yellow card, mate.
Yeah, we're trying to no. We have got some strong players on the team, but so have Castletown. And to be fair to Castletown, as much as they can't always field, when they do have it played, they turn up. And in all fairness to the girls there, can't fault it. And when they do, they've got some skillful players. They've got some really good players. And I mean, I've watched some of their players who weren't really playing football to start off with, and I've watched them progress. And some of the skills are coming on. So I think we might have a bit of a challenge if they do manage to field a full team. But I think we will edge in front.
What about you, Lewis?
Based on what the girls have said here, I'm going for a draw in that.
Oh.
There you go, sitting on the fence, the Andy Dalrymple Memorial.
It's split, is that way, you know?
See, I think that the thing to say about Castan, some scorelines aren't the best. Teams get beat, but it's the ability to go again. I think getting
They show up.
exactly, and I think that's impressive. Obviously,
Absolutely.
I've been in scorelines where it's been 14, 15-0. You get it's just having that thing to go again. So many people could easily just go and pouring down rain. You get beat 15-0. You don't want to come back, do you? Yeah. But then it's easy to sit at home not do anything. You want to.
Hey, Peter did it to us last week.
If you like football enough, you want to keep going.
Exactly, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's football,
show
isn't
up,
it?
turn up, play, go home, enjoy yourself again.
Exactly.
Just crack on.
Yeah, and go again.
Last game in the Women's League, Malou Corinthians.
Oh gosh.
I think Corinthians are going to beat them probably. But saying that, the last time they played, I think Corinthians, they only had about 9 players. They didn't have a full squad. Malou had their full squad out. Corinthians had a weakened squad. And I'm pretty sure Corinthians went 1-0 down, but they did come back to, it was quite a high score line again. But I do think Corinthians will take that.
Malou's quite a new team, isn't it, to have a women's team? Is that this season or last season, or am I?
This is
right? Yeah. I know they previously had one, as you were saying.
Well, that we disbanded in 2007 when I played for them. I'm pretty sure it was 2007. It was just as I was moving away.
Yeah.
And we had a very strong team back then. But to be fair, those girls are coming on massively compared to. So when they first started out in the business league, is it last year or the year before? I can't remember exactly. I actually refereed them, and I did that. And I was like, watching them from the first game to the end of that, there was a massive difference. They didn't know, and I know they're not going to take any offence to this, they didn't know how to do a proper throw-in. They didn't know certain things like that because they were coming from a hockey background. And we just slowed, I just explained to them how to take the throws and just carried on. But it's just literally the way they play now. Some of them have got some amazing skills. I think if I remember rightly, didn't one of them just win Player of the Month, was it last month?
Yeah, Rebecca Cudine.
And
she's been on a few of the island trips with us as well. Yeah, she's a really good player that's up and coming. So
that's really good.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be Malou are going to give the challenge to Corinthians, but I do think Corinthians will snatch the win on that one.
That fell through just reminded me of around Combi. Honestly, you can't throw a ball, and some of the players, the young ones coming through, just can't throw a ball, and nothing.
They're watching the Premier League.
Exactly. Yeah. So many fell throughs.
I was losing my head in the United.
You should be stood watching the TV with your flag and the
I'm not. I sit there just going.
Do you know what I think's good though with that is that, like you said you with them, you explain to them how to do it. Whereas there's been obviously a couple of refs where it's like. They just play it on, and I'm like, well, you're not going to learn, and they're not going to grow it and develop it without explaining how to get better at it.
First couple of games was in, then I said, right, I've showed you I've explained what you need to do now, that's it.
I can imagine it, you can't do it repeatedly, can you?
No, you can't. It's like with the younger ones, isn't it? You explain as you go. It's like, I've refed the under 16s, and they've done a really poor throw-in, and I've got like, well, that's a foul throw. I was like, yeah, but let's take it back and let's do it again. Let's not just be about, let's just be nasty about it. You've got to learn. You're not going to learn by just like giving it away and constant. But if you do it again, then I will.
Absolutely. And Lewis, in this one, Malou Corinthians.
As I say, it sounds like Malou have made some great strides, but I think I'll go, from watching the Floodlit final, I'm going to go for Corinthians in this one. There's some really good players in that team.
Nice.
Particularly good midfielders, I thought, that were playing. So, yeah, I'll go with them.
Happy days.
Cool. Well,
Should we fly through the men's?
yeah, we'll quickly go through the
Yeah.
men's.
You can
We'll
shout off the Dale again if you want.
Foxdale.
Yeah, we'll come to Foxdale. Should we start in Div 1?
yeah, go for it, mate, in the Premier League, yeah?
We might as well get it out of the way. Moran versus Royals.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to talk about last week's Moran.
what's
game,
your
so-
prediction?
I don't know. Moran win. I have to say it.
Yeah.
If I did, every time I've said in the podcast Moran win, if we'd have won, we'd be top of the league, and I think Peel would be bottom, and it's completely vice versa. So, yeah, Moran.
Maybe you shouldn't predict them.
Honestly, we're struggling, but could really do with the win here. So, yeah, I'll go Moran 2, Royals 1.
Nice. Becky, obviously, do you support the Peel men's team as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's Foxdale, you can't
Well,
both.
I moved to Foxdale and then I love Billy Goat Park.
Yeah,
you
to be
know,
fair,
when
that
we
could've
can get
been-
there.
that- Billy Goat Park
when the
is-
game's
Be
on.
playable first.
But yeah, no, I do support the Peel men as well, as the Dale. But yeah.
It's a league Ale, just supports both, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
well,
He's just
that's
like
it.
flicking between. I remember asking him, he's like,
He's going to retire at Foxdale.
he's
We
going
know
to retire,
he is, so, yeah.
he will go back.
Yeah.
So Moran versus Royals, who do you think? Is that where we were at?
Yeah.
We'll go for 3-1.
Moran.
Oh.
Don't offend me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Thank you. And what about yourself?
This is hard. I'm obviously refereeing the combi side on the combi teams on Saturday. So I don't know, because both teams are, like you say, they're not doing fantastic, and I play for Royals, don't I? So that's not going to go down well, is it? Refereeing Royals on Saturday, but
I'll mention that when you give me a bit of
Hey, I'm not biased on that pitch. I walk on that pitch, my head switches off. So I don't know, because Royals haven't really got the score lines either. That is so far, it's I think, are they mid-table?
They're
am I
not doing
right?
too
That
bad.
they're in
I
the
think
Premier League side of things. I
Yeah,
think.
they've had some big results.
They have had some big
they've
results,
done really
yeah.
well. Because
So-
at the start, I think it looked like they were going to struggle a bit, but they've turned it around.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with Royals winning. I'm sorry. I hate to disappoint.
I was just starting to like you.
You might not after Saturday, right?
That's true.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go Royals for the win on that side of things. Just pipping it, I think.
Fair enough. And Lewis?
Well, you didn't fill me with confidence early on. It sounds like there's something going on behind the scenes this week at Moran. But I did offer Fitzy the chance for a game against our under-18s on Monday night, and he turned it down because they couldn't fulfill it.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
for me,
Hello,
yeah.
we've got a guest.
folks. All right.
Hey, Steve, how are you, mate? You okay?
We'll be itching to see you soon. Or the space, anyway.
Okay.
We're booked in at 6, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll be 2 more minutes.
Yeah, we won't be long.
We'll come together nicely.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, head off before we...
Yeah. No problem.
Quick minutes before we...
No
How
problem.
many appearances? So we
Yeah.
get them very
Yeah. So just going back to that. What was I saying?
So
Six
Fitzy
o'clock,
offered you a game on Monday.
Yeah, no. I offered. I asked Fitzy, did he want to have a run out against the under-18s on Monday?
Yeah.
Because they hadn't played at the weekend.
Yeah.
So I thought, there's a chance. So I'm saying that they might have had a couple of weeks off. So
Oh,
I'm going
so-
for a Moran
I like
win.
it.
there you
This is
go.
good knowledge. I'll be telling Dave Brew tonight. So we don't have long, so we better fire through the...
Yeah, just score predictions now then.
Yeah,
So we'll go, Union Mills Peel.
We'll go 5-1 Peel.
Cool. Do you know?
Yeah, I'm with Becky on that one.
Cool.
I can't really say much more than that.
Lewis?
3-2 Union Mills.
Oh.
Controversial. The end of Peel's
That
title
could be the end of
challenge.
the yeah. Oh my God.
Tom?
I'll go... Yeah, I'll just go 2-1. 2-0 Peel. They should... Yeah. Mills were strong last week, to be fair, so... Yep.
Cool. Ramsey Russian. Becky, go with you first.
1-0 Russian.
Close game. Ramsey got good home form though, so
It'll be tight, I reckon.
it will be very close game that I think. Janeann?
Yeah, I think that's going to be close. I'm going to give it a draw, 1-1.
Nice.
Mhm.
On the Andy Dalrymple fence. Lewis?
2-1 Ramsey, I think.
Yeah.
Tom?
I'll go just Ramsey, yeah. 3-2.
Cool. Laxey St John's, we'll start with you, Janeann.
Oh gosh, that's not an easy one either. I think St John's might just pip that, so I reckon 2-1 St John's.
That'll be the result. Lewis?
Laxey, I'm going to go for on that. I'll go 1-0 Laxey.
Cool. Becky?
I'd have gone 1-0 Laxey as well.
Cool. Tom?
2-1 St John's. 2 goals for Cam.
Of course. Brandon Vieira. Lewis, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think Ayr will take that. I think it'll be 3-0. Ayr I'll go with.
Cool. Tom?
Yeah, 2-0 Ayr.
Becky?
I'll just stick with everyone else, yeah.
There you go. Janeann?
Simple.
Yeah, Ayr are on form, aren't they? They've just won one of the cup games, so yeah, got to go with Ayr on that one.
Cool. Last game in the top flight, St George's v St Mary's.
I'll go Marys.
Becky?
Mary's.
Yeah, Mary's.
I think St Mary's as well.
Cool. Division 2, there's only one place to start. D&D v Gyms.
Yeah.
What's it going to be, Lewis?
That's going to be a D&D win, I think.
Is it? Yeah?
not biased at all.
Are you going to score?
Hopefully.
Cool.
Yeah, I think in D&D actually. I think Jim's found a tough time yet, haven't they? So
Again, they've got false positions.
yeah, not played so many games. Yeah, exactly.
So, Janeann, what do you reckon?
Referee D&D quite a bit, so I'm going to be going with
Gyms.
D&D over that. No, to be fair, like you say, gyms have been struggling, but they've also had the problem with the pitch,
Yeah.
and that's not their fault. The weather's been awful.
Yeah.
To be fair, D&D have not had much luck with their pitch either, have you? To be honest, but I would say D&D. I'd go probably 2-0 on that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Becky?
Yeah, D&D.
Cool. Castletown Govs?
Oh, yeah, Castletown.
Yeah.
Yeah, just. Yeah.
Yeah, Castletown.
Don't know, Govs have been on form
Yeah,
since
you know
they've
what?
moved
They
back
beat
up.
D&D last week.
Yeah, do you want to talk about it, Lewis?
They've had some players come in and they've moved back up to the Nobles pitch, so they're on more of a home turf. That's going to be difficult. I'm going to say
Banana skin going on here.
I would say Governors
Bit
probably
of a
2-1.
shock. They're on form. They're
like
in
it.
form.
They have been on form last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry Palmer. It's gonna definitely going to have to be Govs on that one.
Lewis?
I think they're still on a high from the game the other day, so I'm going to pick Governors as well.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a big win.
We'll go Pulley Old Boys. We're saving the big game for last night.
Yeah, of course. We'll go. You know what? I'll go Old Boys. Yeah, they're doing all right, aren't they?
Yeah, they found their form.
Yeah.
Becky?
I'm going to go 2-1 Old Boys.
Cool. Janeann?
Yeah, definitely. Agreed.
Old Boys.
Old
Yeah.
Boys on
Old
that
Boys, yep, for
Yeah.
me.
Malou v Youthy.
Rykov, Rory Poole. Yeah, we'll go Rykov.
Just to name drop
just
Rory.
to please Rory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, what do you reckon?
Malou for me on that one, I think.
one.
Cool.
Rycob for me on that one.
Malou.
And then
Cool.
the big one.
And the big game, yeah. Ogden Foxdale.
So it's so
Up the
close last.
After last week.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh well,
yeah.
I actually think it'll go the other way. I actually think
Foxdale going to pull it out.
I think it was that tight last week. I can imagine, and you know what? I think Onca might. It's more important in the league. I know Woods Cup, Foxdale want to win it. Going up to the top flight is the biggest thing you can do. I
Well,
think.
this is it. It's a massive game.
And I think it might go the other way. I think Foxdale getting carried away with the wins from last week and see Onken.
This might just be their team talk you've just done.
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that's true.
Becky,
Come on.
no guesses as to which way you're going.
Absolute Foxdale going to smash it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Janeann.
Well, both teams played quite well, so I think Foxdale might struggle against Onken because I think Onken are going to want to beat them again after the way it went on Saturday.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Lewis.
This is a real pick on this one. Not sure.
Will
But,
you sitting on the fence?
I'm not going to say draw. I'm going to go Foxdale to win it.
And you know what? I think that could be Foxdale finally going up if they win this game. This
Get
could
that
be it.
flatbed
Definitely.
ready, mate.
Exactly.
Get that trophy
Can you
parade.
imagine the Baltic on the
They'll
Saturday?
deserve it as well.
Yeah, that'll be going off in there. To be fair.
They'll deserve it if they do as well because
They will.
this season they've been phenomenal as well. They've
I-
had struggle with the pitch, but
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know what? The pitch has been better this season than
they've
previous
moved
years.
it. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
the weather's been worse than it has in a long time.
Yeah, and you know what? I think Judith will have a lock in at the Baltic if that
Yeah.
happens. Honestly, that would be
We'll
so
all
nice.
have to go, but
Honestly.
yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah.
The
They
little
won't
hidden
fit
gem
us
of
all.
Foxdale.
Just throw it aside, yeah.
Yeah.
They'll close the road when they like they do for the ball race on their Boxing Day. Yeah, they'll close it for that.
What a scene that would be.
Right.
Yeah.
You've obviously got this room. This room's obviously been booked for something a lot more important than this, so we better get
Don't
moving.
downplay it. Just very, very lastly, again, Wednesday night, the gates open at 4:45. Entry's free, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
And basically, everyone get down here.
Yeah.
Oh, the more the merrier. Come on down, come and celebrate the women and girls game and celebrate all of the volunteers involved in the sport as well.
Absolutely.
And the more we can get down, the better. And and let's have a great event.
And we've got to thank the guests for coming on. Thank you very much, guys. Because
Thanks,
I hope we didn't bore you too much.
No, not at all. Thanks for taking the time to speak about it. Because like you said, the more publicity around it and the more people that get involved is the more it's going to grow. So
exactly.
thanks.
And these guys, if we don't come quick, they'll start banging the door. So on that bombshell,
to top it out.